Happy Monday and welcome to the sneak preview. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
I'm Caleb Blair.
And today we're discussing A24's latest horror flick, Men, as well as the Shudder documentary, The Found Footage Phenomenon. Going to be a polarizing show, but before we get into it, let's see what happened last week in film. Last week in film. And I mean polarizing as in like us and the audience, possibly.
Okay,
Not between me and you. We're on the same page.
I was like, I'm pretty sure we're on the same page with both movies here. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Critic response on Men has been pretty positive. We're not going to be all that positive.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless like we're not talking about it because you didn't have a chance to watch it, but unless like you watched Jackass 4.5 in time and like hated it, then yeah, we have a polarizing episode, but I'm pretty sure you're going to like that when you watch it.
I'm sure I will.
I did.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. But first, there's a new fantasy epic, 3,000 Years of Longing, starring Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba. Comes out August 31st. And I like a good genie movie. You don't see them a lot. And this, George Miller's track record's pretty good. And I guess this is what we're getting instead of Mad Max: The Wasteland.
Well, apparently he's doing this and then Furiosa next. So whatever contract Tom Hardy signs is going to take quite a while to fulfill.
Unreal. But this, I don't really know what to make of this. Is this a comedy? Is this a drama? What is this? But Idris Elba's a genie, and I want to see that.
I wasn't really sold. Like, I like the cast. I like George Miller, but I remember thinking like, oh, okay, someone outside of Mad Max, see what he does. I know he has stuff outside of Mad Max he's done. I'm saying like, as far as recent, he has not done fucking anything since Fury Road, for Christ's sakes. So it was like, oh, okay, let's see what he has up his sleeve. I heard fantasy epics. I was like, okay. I saw it. I was lukewarm. I want to say I was disappointed. I want to say I was impressed. I was lukewarm. I was in the middle. I was like,
I want more details. I want to know what we're supposed to expect here.
Yeah, I wasn't drawn enough to say like, oh, I can't wait to see this when it comes out in theaters. I remember watching going, just give me more Mad Max. How's that sound there, Miller? Just give me Furiosa and Mad Max Wastelands. Just give me that, because I'm not really sold on this.
Well, hopefully the movie's better than the weirdly toned trailer we got. Next up, the long-awaited teaser for Prey, the new Predator film coming out on Hulu August 5th. And we only got 54 seconds of a Comanche warrior taking on a predator, but I am absolutely sold. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking more forward to like the full trailer, just so it's a full trailer. But I've been down for like this, Evil Dead Rise, Hellraiser. I think those are like the big three that have these vague fucking release dates. And now all I can think is like, okay, we finally got a date and we finally got fucking something. Can I get the next two, please? Can I get some fucking information? I'm tired of hearing about how Evil Dead Rise footage was shown at a certain goddamn con, but they're not putting it online. So I'm like, okay, so you have enough for a trailer. What's the hold up? So I'm very happy to finally see something and at least have a release date, something to look forward to now. Yeah. I really like the concept that they're going with on this. Like, fact matter is, like, as far as a quick run there, how I feel about the series, obviously first one's Undisputed Classic. I have grown to really enjoy two. I was one of those I initially didn't like it, but I really enjoy it now. I think Predators is underrated as fuck. Minus Adrian Brody not being convincing as a tough guy, I think Predators is like awesome. And then the Predator, yeah, it happened. But if there's one thing consistent outside the second film is that they haven't recaptured the magic of the Commando squad. Because like I said, even Predators, I like it, but I can't tell you about half of that fucking cast. Other than Topher Grace making the turn as the bad guy, which actually was kind of inventive, and I thought he did it pretty well. And Danny Trejo, just because it's Danny Trejo. I like him. But besides that, he doesn't really last long in film anyway. So like, we clearly can't capture the Commando feel at all anymore for whatever reason. So why not take what you established in the second film that they've been doing this for thousands of years. They come to Earth every so often to hunt and fucking play with that. And that's exactly what this film is doing, is playing with that, saying, look, we've established they've come to this planet numerous times to hunt. So let's play with and do something completely different. And this I know intrigues me a lot.
I've heard a rumor. First off, I agree entirely with your thoughts on the Predator franchise as a whole. Those are my thoughts too. But I've heard rumors that the flintlock that Danny Glover gets in Predator 2 is going to play into this movie, because the inscription on the flintlock is like the same, or like within a year or two of this film's setting. So like there's a possibility like that's going to happen. That's going to be the connector to the rest of the franchise, which would be sweet.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I'm excited just to see the Predator in different time periods, because I've always wanted something like this.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like taking that concept you established back in when, I forget when Predator 2 came out. I think it was like late 80s, early 90s.
I think 1990 on the dot.
99 on dot. So it, and never taking advantage of that since it came out. Instead, they tried doing the Commando thing 2 more times. People didn't really take to it either time. But it's like going back to that, and like you said, let's take that concept and play with the franchise a little bit more. Let's put the Predator in different fucking time periods and have some fun with it. And I like that. I like the flip to the title of saying "Prey" this time. Like I like that flip, because I wonder. To me, it's like, ooh, what does that mean? Like as far as like how's that going to play on the movie?
Who here is the prey?
Yeah. I've heard a lot about the fact that since this is a Comanche warrior, I believe they have gotten a lot of indigenous people in front of and behind the camera. So, for those that want diversity, obviously in Hollywood, we've been demanding that they give us something more diverse. That's being answered too.
Yeah.
I have a lot of hope. I do have a lot of hope for this film. I'm glad they're playing around with this concept finally. And yeah, I look forward to a full trailer just to see more.
I hope this works, because I want to see this done in multiple different. Like I want to see Predator take on the Vikings, or like pirates in the 1700s.
Yeah, that's what's exciting. Like advanced weaponry meets old fucking primitive tactics.
Yeah, this is a cool idea. This thing's been hunting throughout mankind's evolution, and I want to see the trophies he's gotten or failed to get.
Yeah,
and that'd be sweet.
To me, you can play with the horror in each film. You know what I mean? Like, this type of horror would be so much different if they said, let's explore like a World War I or World War II setting, and what they could do with that, or like I said, a Viking setting, since that seems to kind of randomly be the rage right now between the Northmen and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, upcoming God of War. Like, apparently Vikings are in. I guess that has to do with that the show that was on history that now came to Netflix.
Yeah.
So like you could play with that and really also play with your tone because of it.
World War II, I immediately thought of a Nazi Predator.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know how that would work. Maybe the Nazis caught him and are like negotiating. Like, you go, you hunt, but you only hunt within these parameters. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that it would get it would not racist. What's the word for what they would do? It would get into an ism really fast. Yeah,
Predator would get canceled. But yeah, I love the idea. The possibilities are endless. Throughout all of mankind's history, there have always been warriors, and now that we know that there's always been something preying on those warriors, I want to see. So yeah. Hopefully, Prey works out.
Yeah, and it makes me happy that all the worry we had with like, oh shit, Disney's buying Fox. Like, what does that mean for obviously this franchise and the Alien franchise? Like, are they going to bury that? What are they going to do? And they've been very like upfront about saying, no, we're bringing it back big time. Like, we have the Alien show coming to FX. We got a Predator movie coming out. The Marvel comics are doing fucking Predator. Like, they were like all in. They're like all in on these properties, which is pretty cool to me. Like, they're not just throwing it to the race. They're like, no, we're giving you new shit and we're trying something different with it.
Yep. If it ever made a significant amount of money, Disney ain't throwing it away.
No.
That's how it works. Moving on. This was odd. There is a sequel in early development to the 2009 crime thriller Law Abiding Citizen. That's being tossed around lately, despite the fact that the main character, Gerard Butler, dies a horrible bomb-related death at the end of the movie.
Right. Are we really at a point between this and the supposed Gladiator 2 that I've been hearing revamped rumors from Scott himself that it's happening? Um, are we just done? Are we at the point where like it doesn't matter character's death in the first film? We
I
just want to make a sequel regardless.
I don't think it's going to be Gerard Butler unless they like. I honestly they could, and he will probably say yes. But I don't think they should. If anything, keep Jamie Foxx as the main character and, dealing with another psycho or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't think this movie needs a sequel at all. So I don't know why they're doing this.
I mean, no, I like Law Abiding Citizen a lot.
Yeah. But it's a one and done thriller that works as its own movie that I never thought, like, what happens next? There is no next.
I watched him die. Yeah. I don't have a next. I was like, all right, this is a good one done film.
Yeah, everyone who, he killed the guys who killed his family, then he blew up, and that was it. Jamie Foxx kind of learned a lesson.
Also, that's like my only beef is that I don't think Jamie Foxx learned his lesson, but that's whenever we talk about the film. I do have some beef with that ending. Point, though, is that I did watch him die.
Yeah, so we'll see. But then again, he died at the end of 300, and there was a sequel to that, too.
Yeah, that's true, too. That I honestly to this day, like I have seen the sequel 300 a couple of times. The only thing I can remember is Ava Green and the main character sex scene, the power struggle sex scene that happened.
I remember the like hyper amplified cover of Sabbath's War Pigs in the end credits. I remember that.
Oh yeah. The only reason I remember the Ava Green thing because I had like a really big thing for her when she was like doing all this stuff. And she did and like Sin City of Damned to Kill for her, where she was naked throughout half. And I was like, it's good. It's a good time to be a fan of this lady.
Next up, this was not really a surprise. Warner Brothers has canceled their previously announced Wonder Twins movie. This is due mostly to a change in leadership. Turns out nobody really fucking wants a Wonder Twins movie. Who knew?
Yeah, I didn't get my hopes up at all. I feel bad for the actors that they had like literally cast already for it.
Yeah.
Especially Isabel May, who came off the show that she hated. God damn it. Why am I mind blanking? On Sam Elliott. Holy shit. I mind blanked hard.
Okay, so she was off Yellowstone?
She was off the prequel, series he was on that he hated was attached to Yellowstone. So she's kind of up and coming right now. So I know that was probably gonna be like your next big thing. And then they're just like, and it's done. Gone. Go find new work.
And it's gone.
And it's gone.
Yeah. So no Wonder Twins movie. Apparently there's new rules for Warner Brothers, like theatrical release DC movies.
So, all right, this is what happened. I've been reading this on IGN because it's insane. Hamada, how you say his last name, was the one currently in charge of setting things up. He's the one that came up playing like, hey, we'll still do 1 or 2 theatrical releases a year. Then our more riskier projects that we're not sure we'll take or not, we'll reserve for HBO Max. Hence something like Batgirl coming out on HBO Max. Yeah. Right? That was his plan. I thought it was working out pretty well for him. Honestly, like theatrical wise, we're getting some pretty fucking good shit. That's how we got the Batman out of this shit. So I thought it was working well. But recently, as has been reported, right, Warner Brothers and Discovery have merged. Hence why probably sometime this year, whatever they decide to call it, it will be HBO Max and Discovery Plus all in one. At some point. That we're still waiting on the details for that. That's been confirmed to be happening. But the guy in charge, I forget his name. You can tell he's trying to be like he's just trying to make his stamp known, right? Leave his mark. Because immediately, as soon as the deal was done, he was like, "Yeah, so we're gonna be really looking at the DC film slate and really shaking things up." And I wanted Kevin Feige person on board, and like immediately, and our thing was like, "Dude, your shit's working. Leave it the fuck alone." And I'm like, this is what I'm scared of. See, this is what I'm like, God damn it. This time it's not even really Warner Brothers' fault. It's this merger that happened. And the dude just wanted to make his damn voice heard.
That sucks. And yeah, it's a pissing contest now. He's got to be the biggest swinging dick or he's not going to be happy.
Yeah. So now I'm worried because I was like, you guys had something working and it was fine because we were getting the Batman, the Suicide Squad, Joker, like all these fucking kick-ass movies from you guys. And then with the advent of Suicide Squad, right, we got fucking Peacemaker, and then the spinoff shows that are going to be coming out of the Batman and whatnot, and the other spinoff shows that are coming out fucking Suicide Squad. So like your shit was to me going fine. I was on board. I'm like, okay, I'm down for this, DC. Like I like this. And now this guy came on, said his shit. At first, I didn't think anything of it because it looked like they were going about business as usual. But now they canceled Wonder Trends, which you could be right. It could be there's just no interest in it. But now it's like, okay, well, now I'm worried. What else are you going to cancel? I was like, you better not take away fucking Peacemaker, dude, because you're definitely making money off that. That was a huge hit for Max.
I can't really, with DC and Warner Brothers, I can't fathom the constant stream of bad decisions. And I've learned not to get my hopes up with them anymore. We get the occasional 1 or 2, 3 film punch that's like, oh, that was good. And we start to get a little hope. And then behind the scenes turmoil fucks that all up. We've seen this happen so many times. And now I'm disillusioned. Like I'll just, roll with the punches and whatever happens next happens. I'm at this point.
Yeah, it's aggravating. It's really annoying.
Yep, truly. But it's not aggravating annoying. There's a reboot of The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in early development at Hulu. They're finally going back to this untapped well.
I mean, I'm glad you're excited.
I am excited. I like that movie. A lot of people don't, but I like that movie.
Also, you're one of 5 people I know that probably likes that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, it's based on so much content that people love. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen series is epic and really exciting and original and creative. And I hope they go in a more faithful direction, which I think they will.
I think I read that they're getting like the original comic writers involved or something. Like they're getting someone involved to make it more faithful. Like that's to take us to be more faithful with it.
Perfect. Well, there you go. I don't know why they don't just, this has, this reeks of series. I feel like a movie isn't going to do this justice, but a series makes way more sense.
I would argue in the age of streaming, most of these adaptations they want to do with games and comics would actually benefit series.
Yeah.
On the streamers, you can do whatever you want. Whatever episode amount you want, you get. You don't have to, like, as we've seen with The Boys, like how Seth Rogen says they do it. They throw out the most outrageous shit to Prime. They find out where the line is, and then they go from there on what they can get away with. So that's literally, and they've said that we find out what the line is. We go, cool, that's the line. That's what we can put in the show. This is what we can't put in the show.
There's a whole story in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen comic line where Harry Potter is introduced, and he's the fucking Antichrist. Like, I know that'll never, ever in a million years make it to the big screen or even the small screen, but isn't it just nice to know that's a thing?
It could happen.
Oh my God, it would be amazing. But yeah, like that's a really cool series, and I hope they do it justice this time, because while I like that movie, I get why people hated it, and I want it done right for the fans.
Yeah. I hope it works out for them.
Yeah, same. Ending on some sad news. Oscar-winning composer Vangelis has died at 79 years old from heart failure. He won his Oscar for Best Original Score for the 1981 film Chariots of Fire, one of the most iconic and recognized scores in movie history. You know exactly what it is. If you've just Google Chariots of Fire, you'll hear it and you'll be like, oh, I know that. Some of his other notable film scores include Missing, 1492, Conquest of Paradise, Alexander, and of course, Blade Runner. So yeah, we lost Vangelis. Bummer. He was always pretty, ahead of his time with his synth sounds, and Blade Runner especially is beloved by fans, for the music. So yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, mostly Blade Runner score is really kick-ass. So yeah, rest in peace. I wasn't expecting to hear that news. A lot of these this year I'm not expecting to hear it yet. I'm surprised every time.
It's a fucking bummer. With that, let's talk about our films tonight. The found footage phenomenon. Recent documentary debuted on Shudder, covers the history of the found footage film and its various waves, using such films as Cannibal Holocaust, The Blair Witch Project, and Paranormal Activity to represent the change in the formula through film and technological history. Why don't you give us some thoughts on this? Because I know you were really pushing for this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a big sucker for like documentary, especially in relation to horror. And I like when I had kind of a beef with found footage when it first had its resurgence during Paranormal Activities run, and the fact that it really took away from my torture porn era that I heard so dear to my heart of horror. I know a lot of people are like, oh god, I finally got rid of that era. I was like, I like that era, so I like that for once. We weren't fucking babies about violence on screen, so we got shit put to the extreme on a fucking big screen theater. I liked it. But I've grown, around to it, and there's quite a bit of from that era. Like obviously some classic stuff I like. So I was down to see what they would do with this. And for the most part, I like what they did. I really do. Like, yeah, you could argue that they could have maybe waited longer to do this or whatever, made it 4 hours like a lot of docs are nowadays. But I like this short, sweet, and to me, it fits found footage. It was a short, sweet, to the point documentary that just covered its history, why people might be gravitating to it, the various changes. I thought it was a really smart move to pick certain big films, kind of use as like a pivot into that decade and what followed. That was a smart move because you can obviously look, there was always in every case a huge film that hit, it had its resurgence, it died down, another big film did it that hit, and then it died back down. So doing that was smart. I like a lot of the people that got on board to do it. Some of those things I was like, oh shit, okay. Seeing Oren Peli, who's really only has Paranormal Activity to his name because Area 51 kind of flopped.
I thought it was neat that they got the Cannibal Holocaust guy to talk about how he made that movie. I didn't realize that like it was so realistic. He was arrested for murder.
Yeah, if you want more history on that, check out the new season of Cursed Films. It's the final episode of season 2. It's dedicated entirely to Cannibal Holocaust, and he talks about that.
Nice. I've never actually seen Cannibal Holocaust. I should probably do that first.
Dude, it's an insane movie. I've seen it like 5 or so times now.
That's what I've heard. It's a trip. But yeah, I thought this was neat. I felt really bad for the last broadcast guys. I mean, they should have had the Blair Witch's success, but just timing and marketing, and it didn't work out. And they're kind of known as, some people think they ripped Blair Witch off, which is super shitty.
Mm-hmm. I like how the doc touched on that a couple of times. Like that one guy, they talked about that made that one movie, but because it was like the screen light, or it did the moving cameras and stuff. Because it did the security footage ways they couldn't. I forgot the name of the movie.
Yeah, it was the zombie something.
Yeah, it took place in that person's apartment and stuff. And they said like a lot of what they were doing wasn't being used in found footage at the time, but because it took so long to get that film out, like I think the serial sounder for like 2 years and all this crazy stuff, that when it did came out, they were told they were copying these other big hit movies. And it's like, well, no, we did it first. It just took longer to get out.
Yeah, like Romero's Diary of the Dead, and the film that was doing a found footage zombie film, and then he was told, we're going to pay money for your film so we can shelve it so it doesn't hurt Romero's success. Like, that's gotta suck. I mean, I can't imagine that, you work so hard on a movie and the studio is like, well, it's so similar to this other movie that we care way more about, so bye.
Yeah, or I mean, technically, I think they sat on Paranormal Activity for a while before it finally came out. I think I remember hearing like it's sad, and then they found out, okay, let's dust this off.
Yeah, it like on IMDb, it's listed as a 2007 film, but it came out in 2009, and I remember that thinking like those numbers don't add up.
Yeah,
and then there was one like every year for like 6 years.
Yeah, it was like it's sad, and then they started doing like select screenings to see if people would respond, and they were getting like huge fucking responses on those select screenings. So then they thought, okay, we got something here.
Oh man, I still am in awe of the Blair Witch Project success. What, 10 grand and $350 million box office, the most profitable film in history. That's incredible.
I loved hearing the guy talk about it, like what they did to like convince everyone and whatnot.
I love that. Like, you can't be in anything for a year. Like, we need people to think you disappeared in the woods.
Yeah.
Like, what if you're like, in Burkittsville, or I guess they don't live there, but like wherever these guys live, and you go to the 7-Eleven, you just saw the Blair Witch Project, and like, one of the dudes is in there getting a hot dog, and you're like, what? What? It's right. He's alive.
Do you have a breakdown?
It had to have happened. It's not like they just sat in their homes for a year and then were like, oh, time's up. I can go outside now.
Yeah, especially back then when they didn't really have as many like come to you services as we do now. You could probably get away with it.
We did for a while. That was the fucking quarantine. We did that.
Yeah, I was like, you can have groceries brought to your door. Amazon brings you all. Like, you could conceivably never leave your house and be fine.
But also in 99, like, we weren't being watched all the time by our fucking smartphones. Like, you didn't know where everybody was at any given moment. You could just get off the grid for a little bit and just avoid any paparazzi who might be hanging around. But you weren't famous yet. No one's looking for you. They think you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I liked how many movies it showed me, how many movies it introduced me to, films I hadn't heard about that I were like, oh, I'd like to see that. I had a giant list by the end of it.
That's what I like about like. Sorry, I was about to say, this is what I like about like documentaries like this, or the In Search of Darkness films that cover the 80s, is that it shows me shit that I may have missed. Been like, oh, that does look really cool. I want to check that out. So I always love that, because there's so stuff. Even this, I'm seeing a good chunk of what they were showing. I was like, oh, I haven't seen that. I want to check that movie out.
Have you seen Megan is Missing?
No, that was one of those I wanted to watch. That
looked like it's going to be difficult to watch.
Maybe. I know a lot of people told me Pugskeepy Tapes was going to be difficult, and I sat through the whole thing unfazed.
Well, I'm saying for me, I feel like you could watch a real snuff film and you'd be like, it's fake.
Probably.
You might have, for all I know, by accident. How would you know?
Well, no. I've seen some actual videos.
Oh shit. We're going to talk about that later. But yeah, Hate Crime looked interesting. That looked like a rough watch.
Yeah. Jesus. The August Underground stuff. The fact that was a whole series.
Yeah. I'm surprised it didn't touch on I think it's called Faces of Death.
Yes, but that's just because that Faces of Death it's still a well-known property and people like it, but it's also known fact that it's been coming to light that a lot of the death they show in that film is absolutely 100% fake.
Well, yeah, it's all fake, but isn't that also like done in a found footage way?
Yeah, but it's usually like it's voiceover of a guy talking about, and now this is what is happening, and then they show the thing dying, and then they cut to the next one.
Okay, so it's not like a movie; it's more just like a series of freaky clips.
It's a collection of various deaths. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, this was a really neat, comprehensive doc that showed the progression of a undervalued, I think, subgenre. And now with movies like Host and an Unfriended taking advantage of the whole lockdown and on Zoom thing, like I think potential for these films is just getting bigger and more exciting, and I'm looking forward to where this is going.
Yeah, well, I like how they touched on that documentary. They talked about like people really give this this subgenre a bad name because they touched on it. They're like, they think anyone can just make this, and then blah blah. And they're like, no, it takes a lot. And some of the guys were like, they were like, I remember some of the guys were like, you'd be surprised what we have to do just to make sure this shot looks good with the camera.
I didn't realize how well choreographed and complex Record was. I was really surprised at that. Like it looks so effortless, but yeah, like you don't really think about the intricacies of trying to make something seem seamless.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's that fact that you're trying to make something seem real more than ever, right? Because in a standard movie, it's almost like a book, right? It's here are your characters, here's the plot, let's go. With this, you are like, we have to do this, but also make you believe this is real. Even if you go in obviously knowing Cloverfield is fake, it needs to be presented in a way that looks real.
I like the kind of animosity between the the guy, the indie film guys who are making their found footage movies and being like, and then you got a film like Cloverfields, trying to act like they know what it's like making a movie like this. Like it just felt so, like there was a beef there, and I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I thought so too. I like how the guy from Host was like, "Yeah, it's hard for me to watch those because once you see a big name actor, it kind of ruins the illusion."
I love that one guy who's like, "Well, obviously, a monster didn't destroy New York, so you're not going to think that was real." Like, I love that he had to clarify that.
Yeah,
like if some idiot out there is like, "I just watched this movie. New York's been destroyed. It's a monster."
Why aren't we doing anything about it?
That's great.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of get that. Like, don't get me wrong. I like the first Cloverfield quite a bit. But I get that because, like, think about it. If you're trying to make this as real as possible, you're going to get a no-name actor. You're going to get someone.
You got to go smaller in scale on every aspect, otherwise, people are gonna aren't gonna buy it. I get that.
Yeah, so I get where that animosity comes from. That, like, yeah, once you see, like, if you were to see Tom fucking Cruise in your found footage, you're like, okay, well, now I know this is fake.
Well, the example they used in the movie was End of Watch, where you got Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena trying to, as cops through body cams. And I'm like, well, that's Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. They aren't police officers. This isn't real. Continue. I still like the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I like how they go like, if the movie was a gimmick, I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong. With that said, I did like End of Watch, but they're right. Like, they're not wrong at all about that. And you're right. Like, to me, at the end of the day, like, most of my favorite found footage films, all the smaller ones that I had, like, even with knowing I'm watching a movie, knowing that, yeah, these may be no-name actors, but they're still actors. Me being the film buff that I am, and obviously that you are, even then, like, because it was so low budget, because they worked so hard to make it seamless, most of my favorite ones, I can get lost and I go, oh shit, and I actually kind of feel it. Like with the VHS series, I can, for some of those segments, actually kind of lose myself for a second and be like, oh shit, okay, like, and forget I'm watching a fucking movie because it's just done that well on a lower budget.
I agree. Did they bring up VHS at all?
They did not. No.
Huh. I wonder if it was a rights issue or something. I wonder how they're able to use clips from certain movies. I always wonder about that in documentaries. Like, what kind of permission do they have to get?
They got to contact the studio. The studio is the one holding the rights, and if not, they got to contact someone who made it directly, because they might still hold the rights.
Doesn't Shudder own the rights to VHS 94?
Yeah,
and this is a Shudder documentary. Like,
yes, they actually came out in 2001. It just now got put on Shudder, so it may have been made before VHS 94 came out.
You meant 2021, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I'm like, there's no possible fucking way this was made in
like the found footage films before. They sat on this for years.
How did they know all these movies were going to come out? Anyway, yeah, it was a good doc. I liked it. I like Shudder's docs. I've seen that, and I've seen the Boris Karloff one, and I really like what they're churning out on the documentary side of things. Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
If you can make time, or do what I do with it and do it over a couple of days, because it's a 4-hour epic for both of them. Check out the In Search of Darkness docs on Shudder. They literally both cover the entire decade of horror and just highlight various films and talk about different trends during that decade.
Cool.
Yeah.
And there was that folk horror doc they did a while back, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of that, but I remember you reviewed it on Letterboxd.
Yeah, really good. Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. That, if you're looking for like more folk horror to add to your list, like, that will cover it. Again, if you need to give yourself some, like, couple days on that, because it is a long one. But I highly recommend those three in general. Really good documentaries, cover a lot of ground. We'll add so many more films to your list that you want to check out.
Sweet.
And the folk one actually got a Chainsaw Award at this year's Chainsaw Awards for best documentary or something like that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I like what these docs are doing is, not only are they giving me like movies that I want to watch, they're also giving me a lot more fuel for the podcast where, I can add more movies into the list on that front. Because, it's all horror films I haven't heard about that clearly have made an impact if they're talking about them on the documentary. So Definitely going to look into that.
I think to me, I always value the background you can get from those because you're getting it directly from people involved. Whereas throughout the movie, or they're in the industry, they may have been friends with that person. You know what I mean? Like you're getting it from the source and not just reading it on like Wikipedia or IMDb or whatever. So it's nice hearing that. And a lot of times you'll get shit they won't even put on fucking, like you said, the animosity between the indie guys and you're not going to see that on any of these Wikipedias, but you get that in the documentary and how they feel about it.
Well, I agree with that you get a lot more firsthand information and a lot more honest information. Like I still love that we use the Lost Soul doc for our Island of Dr. Moreau Beyond the Bad episode, because we got a completely different, really interesting, hilarious, weird episode because of that. So I definitely love that. I want to incorporate more docs into what we do in the future. Good research material.
Oh yeah, it really is.
Cool stuff. That was fun. The found footage phenomenon is a Shudder original. It's there, so feel free to check that out if you got Shudder. Or I think there's something with Amazon, like Amazon gives you some Shudder. I don't know what the deal is there.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, if you have Shudder, or you're using Shudder through Prime, check it out. It's not one of the epics like the folk horror one or the Instructions films. It's a clean hour and 40 with an ending that befits found footage. I really like how they pulled that. I like that. As soon as they did, I was like, that was good. I like that. So it's easy enough to digest and get through. And if you have even a cursory interest in that subgenre, I know it's like torture porn. It seems like that is a split down the middle. People either fucking love or hate the subgenre of found footage. If you have any kind of interest, I'd say check it out.
I don't love or hate any specific genres anymore. To me, I take everything on a film by film basis. I think that's the best way you can do it, because otherwise you're just, condemning an entire genre or praising an entire genre unjustly.
Yeah, I have preferences. Best way to say it. I would say it's like more of a rank thing. Like I'm not rushing to see the next great romantic drama. Personally,
it depends on who's making it. For me, it depends if like it has a good cast, good track record. I'm like, you know what? I'll check that out. Same with horror. It's how I roll. That's just how I do it.
It's still better than just having to love or hate it completely type of thing. I'm just saying I'm more of the really depends on time. Like
I've met people who just like, I don't like horror movies. And I'm like, well, what have you seen? And they say like they watched Paranormal Activity once when they were a kid and it scared them, so they don't like horror movies. It's like, no, bad. That's wrong. Don't do that.
Yeah. Well, my favorite, I don't like horror films. Really? Well, I liked Midsommar, but that wasn't really horror. And then I want to just punch you in your face immediately.
Wrong.
Not because you liked Midsommar. If you like Midsommar, cool. There's better folk horror films out there, but cool.
Yeah, just admit you like the horror movie. It's not like the skies are going to open. Like, what do you think's going to happen?
Just admit you watched one and you liked it. It's okay. Yeah. Like I said, I may not like romantic dramas all that much. I may not rush to see them. If I like one, I'll be man enough to be like, yeah, I like that romantic drama. God damn it.
You like The Prince of Tides.
Exactly. I like The Prince of Tides. I will say it. It wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah. This is all a learning experience, and I am enjoying the ride. Speaking of films we didn't like, Men.
Let's segue there.
Yeah. I was like, it's a horror heavy one this week, but that doc was way more entertaining. This was
I like we've had 2 weeks in a row where Shudder delivered, and not the big releases of the week.
I know, right? What the hell? Doesn't it kind of feel sometimes like we're getting in on Shudder like right before it's about to like explode?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I know the sadness was exploding already because of its festival one. Like people were like going apeshit over it during its festival one, and then Shudder got it, and it's just like it renewed again because now everyone can fucking watch it.
That's good. That's very good. Men is another A24 production. Alex Garland's third film as a writer-director, following Ex Machina and Annihilation, and he is getting worse. I don't know what happened. This is the guy who wrote 28 Days Later. Like, where did he go?
I think I need him going back to just being a writer and having a director look at everything and be like, okay, so get rid of all this. We'll film this.
I was talking to Austin about that. Like, how much of 28 Days Later was Danny Boyle looking at the script and being like, "What the fuck does this mean? We're gonna do this. People need to understand this, Alex." Like,
Alex, it's a fucking zombie film. Air quotes, don't come at me, people. it's a fucking zombie film. I don't need a random vagina birth from a man here. Like, just give me zombies, man.
5 male vaginal births.
I don't like how you counted.
I couldn't believe they kept coming. I was like, we're gonna keep doing this. I mean,
let me just get this out of the way real quick before we go further. As you know, that happens during like what, the last 10, 15 minutes or so of the film.
Yeah.
Two older ladies made it through this whole film. As soon as the first close-up of a mangina happened, as I'm calling it, thanks to a little show on Adult Swim that's only wrong called The Mighty Boosh. Thanks, like that close-up happened, and I see one come down, hear her throw her shit away, never comes back. And the next one comes down on the second mangina. I hear her throw her away her shit and never come back.
That's hilarious. I had walkouts too, but over a completely different situation. I went to a Cinemark in San Antonio that I am now realizing is apparently where every asshole in the city goes to the movies.
Cinemark or just that theater? Because I go to the Cinemark. Right.
That theater specifically, because
okay, I was like, I go to a Cinemark right down the street from me.
Now, this one particularly is like, oh, like where I'm a dick, I'm gonna go here. There was a younger couple about late 20s, brought their 3 kids, 3 like 5 to 7-year-old kids.
People realize that you can look at the rating on there now, right?
Yeah. And they just let them run around the entire goddamn theater and talk at full volume. And I was like, are you kidding me? They were also sitting in our seats that we'd reserved. So we had to move because we were like, we're not arguing with kids. So it was just like, what the fuck is happening? And then there was some asshole a row behind me watching something on his phone. Like he had a TV show going on his phone the whole time.
What the fuck?
So I was hearing like, I was watching Men, and then I hear like very subtle, like phone conversation. I was like,
going to that theater.
What is happening right now?
What
the couple with the kids eventually they left about halfway through, and I was like, thank God. But the dude on the phone was the whole movie.
I would start kicking his chair or something.
I couldn't believe it. I was turning to my friends like, what is going on? Like they heard it too. Nobody did anything.
I like how you guys, when I didn't move that one guy, when I went to go see Unbearable Weight, you guys were like, why didn't you just make him move? And now here we are now, and you guys are like, I wasn't gonna make the kids move. Nope.
It's a different situation when it's an adult who knows better before the movie and 3 toddlers who don't mid-movie.
Yeah, but also you did what I did, which was like, oh, there's an open seat right there because this is a damn near empty theater.
It wasn't a damn near empty theater. It was a pretty full theater.
Oh shit, my theater was damn near empty, so I was just like, that seat's open. Fuck it. As long as no one comes in, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's what I moved. I'm like, I'm not gonna argue with these kids. Like, hey, that's my seat, and they'll be like, my seat now. Like, I'm not getting in a fight with a kid.
I think I'm petty enough. I would have done it. I would have like reversed him, like, you know what? No, I didn't want to stand up to that dude. But I'm standing up to these kids right now because
I could tell just by the situation these were not well-behaved children. They're gonna be like, sorry, sir. No, they're gonna be like, fuck you, man, which would be hilarious.
Then get the manager. I've been like, okay, cool. I'll just get the manager and then hopefully get these kids and these parents kicked out of here.
Couldn't believe that. So I was already like, what is going on here? And then the movie happened, and my what is going on here just increased. So right off the bat, I just want to say Jesse Buckley and Rory Kinnear are absolutely fantastic in this movie. They are lights out.
Yeah, they're great. Performance-wise, no issues whatsoever.
Yeah. The story is a bit vague and kind of just all over the place. Jesse Buckley plays a lady named Harper whose husband recently either killed himself or fell off the roof. It's not really made clear.
I mean, out of the way, he fell to his death.
Yes.
We know that he tried getting down to the apartment and he either slipped or just jumped off.
Yeah. He
That didn't really bug me. I was like, okay, either way, he fucking fell and died. Okay.
I just thought it was weird they wouldn't commit to either one. Like, just tell us he killed himself, or I don't know why we got it. Everything's got to have a question mark around it. But he punches his wife in the face, and then she's like, "Fuck you," and he's like, "I'm sorry," and she's like, "Fuck you," which was satisfying. I liked that. And she's just like, "Get the fuck out," and then he tries to get in the apartment upstairs and falls off the fucking roof.
Yeah, I'm just glad they didn't commit to like her being the one pusher, because I thought like this is going to be a twist where she pushed him out and she's like escaping. I'm calling it right now. Luckily, that's not where it went. Thank God.
There was no possible. I didn't think of that at all, because she sees him as he's falling, and I'm like, there's no way she pushed him, ran down to the middle apartment. And
no. That's where I thought like it's gonna be a twist where she thinks she sees him falling, but really she just pushed him down. She's so deep in her fucking psychosis. Don't pull that card with me. You've seen plenty of movies.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. It was a possibility. I was really waiting for the explanation of why every man in this village looks like working here, including the weird little boy with the CGI face that did not work.
Yeah, CGI didn't work too well. Like it didn't work well there, and then like it was bugging me seeing his hand when he got cut, and it was like clearly CGI. And I'm like, I was sitting in the theater just like, please just fucking go practical. Like I know for a fact you got actors that didn't cost you that much money, so all you had to do was spend a little bit more on the fucking practical effects. What, you thought this was gonna be a box office hit anyway?
Unreal. So Jessie Buckley, her husband dies, and she's like, "Oh, that sucks. I better go mourn him," even though I fucking hated him.
She did hate him quite a bit.
She hated him a lot. Mid-divorce, like he's like, "I'm gonna kill myself." She's like, "Why would you say that?" He's like, "Because I'm gonna." And she's like, "Well, that's not on me." And he's like, "Yes, it is."
I did really
shit. Yeah.
I did really like that scene when they're having their argument. Like again, performances here were outstanding, really across the board from everyone.
Oh, when he starts screaming, like, "You're not the victim," like all that shit. Like I felt that shit. That was well done. Well done by both of them. Yeah. But just the content of what he's saying is so immature and just.
Well, to me, and thankfully, like I said, there's no like ultimate twist of like, oh no, she's really the, you know what I mean? Like it was very much what you were saying.
Men are the bad guy. That's the whole thing of the movie. It's like in her life, men fucking suck, and I get it.
Yeah, and again, guess what? I'm not gonna play to woke rants because I didn't feel that at all from the movie.
No, this was a personal story. This wasn't about all men. It was about all the men she keeps running into.
Yes, technically 2 men throughout this movie,
except for Jeffrey, who seemed actually pretty chill until she ran him the fuck over.
I was like chill until the end. Then he looked like he was with whatever that thing was.
Real quick though, I did love that like he turned on her when she ran him over, because I'm like, is this a monster, or is this just Jeffrey being like, "You ran me the fuck over"? Because I would have done exactly that.
Yeah, but I'm also like, Jeffrey, why are you standing in the middle of the street?
I would have stolen the car and tried to run her over.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, look, if I was her and I had ran it over that standing in the middle of the fucking street at night, I'd been like, yeah, keep going. It's the country. No one's going to know. Just go. Let's get out of there.
I thought he was hilarious. Just constantly like telling himself little things like, "Oh, not today, Jeffrey." Just like, he was funny.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I liked this Jeffrey persona quite a bit. That was like my favorite. Yeah, but as far as like, I don't know where to go from here because this movie, it goes places.
Well, I guess we can go to the woods like she did. And because that was a good scene when she goes to the tunnel and she starts doing the echo noises.
For the most part, I was cool with the way, like when we got the flashbacks of her piecing this thing together, of why she ended up here, because I know just make sure like she did it to escape I'm sure it was more like that being in the city and all that stuff. The classic, like, I need to go somewhere and escape for a minute. Yeah. Okay. I totally get that. Like I said, I did like the scene with Jeffrey showing her around and, the whole like apple thing. The whole, I don't know. Mustn't do that. Nah, I'm kidding.
Forbidden fruit. I'm joking. Gotta blink when you do that, Jeffrey. Otherwise, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Jesus, Jeffrey. Whatever he said about the bathroom, and he showed up there, something about like the septic tank or something.
I must say, ladies, be careful what you flush. And then just stares at her like, Like, okay. Jesus, man.
All right.
Must be said.
Yeah. I'm right down the road if you need my help. Yeah. I like how it's, I like where this is going. I like the setup. And yeah, I like this little walk in the woods she takes to set up what is about to transpire.
Yeah. I like the tone of that. You keep like waiting for like something is gonna pop out. But when is it going to happen? And when it does happen, the silhouette shows up at the end of the tunnel and then just starts running towards her.
Yeah, it makes that weird noise.
Yeah, the guttural. I think she summoned something with that weird chant.
That's what I thought. I was like, maybe she did something with the weird chant. Because again, like Garland made it very known that this was a folk horror film for him. So it was like he did something. She did something. I felt like that was Shanty that awoke in this thing.
Yep. And it's Rory Kinnear naked.
Go full Monty. He bared it all throughout this movie.
And frankly, you know what? The man should be proud of himself. Good for him.
Jeffrey's packing.
Yeah. Rory Kinnear is rocking the full cannon. Good for him.
That's why Jeffrey's so happy.
Yeah. I was impressed. Like, Jesus, I've never... Usually, because you're not allowed to get hard in movies. Usually it's not that quite pronounced, but like, fuck, man.
Not allowed to get hard.
All I could see.
Don't you dare get hard.
But anyway, yeah. Naked man comes out of the woods and just stalks her, and the local PD just shows up like, oh, no, I'm done. Just a nut.
We'll take care of it.
Yeah, like, we'll arrest the nut. And one of the cops, of course, is Roy Kinnear.
Yeah.
He runs into at the pub later, and he's like, oh, no, that guy? Oh, no, we released him. Like, why would you tell her that?
Yeah, I didn't understand. I'm like, why are you telling her that? But again, like, and we'll get to then, like, clearly something was being set up to establish that, yeah, this has something to do with that thing. Like, somehow it's made versions of itself throughout the town, but the film never bothers to explain this. But again, you said it's based off some old Celtic myth, which might explain more. Yeah. But I shouldn't have to look up a fucking mythology.
After we saw that, I agree with that. I don't like that it's like, I watched the movie, and my involvement in this transaction's over. Like, I shouldn't have to do homework to understand what your film was. But yeah, me and my friends looked it up afterwards, and apparently it's some Celtic legend called a green man who like manifests as a deity of grief or some shit like that. It was very obscure. So like, no one's going to know if it was like a siren or a leprechaun or something, people are going to catch on. But if it's some out of nowhere Celtic myth that no one's talked about for 600 years, it's going to be hard to come to that conclusion independently.
I'll just buy into a straightforward story and explain why everybody looks like Rory Kinnear, apart from it being a cool casting decision.
That is also a good idea. I was expecting some kind of like the priest has been like, raping all the women in town and they all look like him. All the kids look like him for like generations.
Priest got creepy there real quick.
Oh, when he goes, you drove him to it, didn't you? Like, don't you feel bad? I love what she's just like, fuck off, and walks away.
Yeah, I love it because after she said, I'm used to kids cussing at me, but at Vickers. So I forgot that's what they called them over there.
That weird kid is like, you stupid bitch. And then just walks away. Like, what the fuck is this? In the like Marilyn Monroe mask.
Yep. And then she turns around and tells the vicar to fuck off.
As well she should. Fuck him. The home invasion scenes are pretty creepy when naked Kinnear is just like following her out on the perimeter, and you can just see him outside as she's giving the tour to her friend. Like, yeah,
I was just waiting for the friend to be like, "Hey, who's that?" or something like that to let the needle drop. But I was like, "No, we're building this up, aren't we?"
Yeah, it was unnerving for the most part. It was just I kept waiting for something else.
And that's why I say it's hard for me to put blame on A24 this time, and more so on Alex Garland, who wrote and directed this film, because there's so much stuff there. There is, for once, horror throughout. Like, there is very like good suspense-filled moments throughout this film.
Yeah,
it's just, to me, it faces the same problem I had with the lighthouse. Not the lighthouse. The night house. There you go. Jesus, where nothing whatsoever is explained. And granted, you probably now that I think about it, you could say the same thing about the lighthouse, but that film was done in such a way to leave it up to interpretation.
When the performances are so good, I forgive quite a lot from the lighthouse.
This is true. And the ending's satisfying because both characters essentially die. So it's like there's nothing left dangling. They're just dead and I can move on. But with this, like it had a lot of stuff going and I was intrigued. But then when it came like Night House came to like, okay, how are we going to explain all this? And what I got, I was just like, oh, all right, I don't know. Especially because like the initial like home invasion stuff when he's like looking at her during the night sequence when he first started, kind of like, holy shit, that was like legit creepy as fuck.
Yeah. I also liked how they incorporated her tunnel chants into the score. I thought that was creepy. Score was good. And then her just, I understood this was supposed to be a grief metaphor. And I had an idea that I think would have cleared this up. I told you about it before we started recording. I wish we hadn't seen her husband until the end of the movie. And then it's revealed that her husband looked like Rory Kinnear. Because then it could be that she's just been projecting that face on every man she's encountered who's been just a dick to her or like, wanted her sexually. And it's just, then it's that would have been like, okay, that explains everything. All right, I can get on board with this.
Yeah, and then it could have been she actually killed Jeffrey or something at the end, right? Because she gets so deep in it that when her friend comes by, she's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. There's some gardener who looks nothing like Rory Kinnear who's dead on the front porch. She's covered in blood, and she's just like, "Hi." Like, I would have bought that movie. Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, and I would have continued enjoying the film. Honestly, I would have been like, "This was a damn good movie." Hell yeah, Alex Garland. But instead, and this is my thing with Garland. Like, I didn't mind Annihilation, but with that said, that ending, I know is even people who like it, and myself included, that ending is where you fall off big time, where it's just like, what the fuck is going on right now? And I've always thought this guy, great grasp of story and metaphor with Ex Machina, decent grasps in Annihilation, where at first I was on board with it, there was a lot of good stuff going on. I got where they were going, and the end muddled it up. And this one to me was the sloppiest, like the worst case of his story and metaphors. Like he's just like, to me, degrading with each film. Or it's like
weird. You don't see that a lot. You don't see a writer director get worse with each production.
Yeah, it's like I'm at a point now. I'm like, dude, just give me something without metaphor. Give me a straightforward fucking horror film without metaphor, for Christ's sakes.
And that's when, for me, it comes back around to A24 because I want from them a straightforward, scary horror movie without trying to act like it's impressing somebody. And
we got that with X.
Oh yeah, that's right. Earlier this year.
That's what I say. I'm not putting blame on A20. This is to me, Garland.
All right, fine. You win.
I was like, A24. I do put some blame on like shortly after Hereditary. That seems like that's the only type of film they were doing. But like I said, I stand by it. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like they're being more of a, hey, we'll produce your work, very much your thing type of deal. And we got that with X, where like they were clearly the only ones willing to, go off this ideal Ty West had, and it worked tremendously. It worked for them and everything everywhere at once. Early reviews I've seen for Bodies. Looks like it's going to work out for them again with that movie, because I've been hearing lots of great things from my horror sites on that one. It just seems like this one, that's why I say I don't blame them for this one. I feel like this was very much Garland. Like this was all him. They just packaged it the best they could in their trailer and went like, here you go. Because technically, like, I don't think the trailer misled as much, because they really can't show us much shit on the end of the movie. You know what I mean? Like they can't sit there and show like the gaping man giants that happen. Like, so they showed everything they could show that is in the movie. You have multiple workers, you have all the stuff that's being said to be explored, just never is fully satisfyingly explained at the end of the film.
Well, at least I've got Ty West's X prequels to look forward to in the latter half of the year.
If those are coming out in the latter half of the year.
I assume they were. God damn it. Well, eventually I'll have that to look forward to.
Hopefully. They're keeping mum on poor right now. I think the next one they're focusing on is Bodies, because I think that's coming out next.
Fine.
I think it's coming out next. I don't know. I haven't heard a release date on poor yet.
Well, Men didn't do it for me. I found myself nodding off towards the end of it. I was starting to get really bored. Uh, of course, the mangina woke me up, as a mangina will do.
Yes. I will say, like, I had legitimate fear when the whole motion light thing I thought was awesome. That whole fucking sequence when like the cop's just standing there and he keeps doing it and he just disappears. I was like, what the fuck?
Dude, when the kid pulls his hand through the mail slot and like pulls it back on the knife and you see the whole goddamn arm just cut in half, that was freaky.
Yeah. Hearing the dude just scream and run at her randomly, I was like, holy, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Then the vicar tries to rape her
And
saying,
puts his CGI cut hand on her. I was like, oh, that's gross.
His whole thing of like, you're hot and I'm feeling rapey and that's your fault. It's like, oh God.
Yep, here we go.
Yeah.
I did like how Jeffrey busts through at one point and he's like, oh no, I'll take a look. As the landlord, I must take a look.
Yeah, I liked Jeffrey. I never got the vibe that he was dangerous until she, smacked into him with the car. And then he's like, you fucking ran me over and tried to kill her. And I'm like, I get that one.
Yeah, his attitude changed. But again, I got the feeling they are tied to that creature because at one point that thing popped, and this is where the film started to lose me. It was the moment that thing popped up again with the leaves in it, and it's like morphing into whatever and blows stuff in her. I was like, okay, what the fuck's going on now? What are we doing at this point?
Yeah, I didn't really know what the fuck that was. And also how the thing texted her through her friend's number.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of really creepy shit that I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, when that text turned and said, well, I know where you are. And I was like,
you stupid bitch.
Yeah. I was like, get out, get out, get out.
Yeah, and then we get like 4 or 5 births that result in her husband coming back to life briefly and being like, I just want you to love me. And she's like, no. It's like, okay, that seems like a pretty obvious conclusion to that relationship. I don't think we needed to see again.
Yeah, look, at first I was like, holy shit, I'm seeing a mangina on the screen. But then it kept going. I was like, all right, you don't need to keep going with it.
Yeah, I got, after 3 or 4, the mangina starts to lose some punch.
Yeah.
Like, are we still doing this? Okay.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh, okay, this is shocking and different. And I'm impressed that I'm seeing this on a fucking movie theater screen right now. And then after like, yeah, the third time I was like, oh no, we're still doing this. It's not stopping.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then her friend shows up, sees a trail of blood, and Harper's just in the backyard, like, oh, hi. And that's it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Again, God damn it.
Yeah, I thought maybe there'd be more when like sorry. I thought there'd be more when her dead fucking husband would come out and be like, oh, okay, we're going to get like some kind of monologue that ties all what I just saw together. And no, as soon as she said he said, I just want you to love me, and it cut. She didn't say anything. It just cuts to the credits. And I was like, oh. And then, it goes back to the movie. I was like, oh, okay. I'll get an explanation. Everything will tie together. And I ended up actually pretty much liking this movie. And then, like, you never see, like, what the ultimate blood thing was. Again, makes me think that, okay, I guess the creature thing was real. But you also don't see all the other fucking bodies that it birthed out of it. Again. And yeah, it's her, and she just looks at her. They make eye contact, and back to the credits. And I was just like, so no explanation. What? Oh, okay.
So it's a 5 for me. I couldn't get into it. It had potential, but I don't like this kind of movie, and it seems like we get this a lot.
This has been the standard, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 5 or 6. Like I said, there's a lot that I did enjoy going in, and it just does what the Night House did and muddles it all up. And its climax that just made me go, damn it. I am going to hold out hope that this was a misstep, because so far A24 horrorized. I'm not going to comment on all the fucking random dramas they come out with throughout the year.
They excel in their dramas.
I know they do. They had one they advertised called Marcel, the some talking Snell thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horror Eyes have been doing great this year, even adjacent with like things like everything all at once. X. This was a messed up, but I want to have faith based off the early reviews I've seen for Bodies. And the fact that they didn't make it, they just acquired it for distribution. So they had nothing to do with that movie. Someone else made it. They just said, hey, we'll release it. So that their hands have not touched it. Gives me hope.
Well, I'm excited to see, Pete Davidson with his whole, I look like I fuck persona. So I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah. Like I said, that one, they picked it up out of a festival. It was already filmed, already shown, got good reviews. They picked it up to distribute it. They haven't touched it or anything. But I'm hoping that will be their third one for me this year, because that looks really good. The reviews have been very kind to it. Yeah, I'm like you, Pete Davidson. I like him. I think he's funny. And the whole I look like I fuck. Like that's what I want to put out, that I fuck.
That's funny.
If the jokes that they showed are good, like I've been hearing, like it's gonna be a great satire on like modern fucking culture. Yeah. Which is really all I'm asking for, is finally get a sharp satire on like how we are now as a fucking human species.
At the very least, it'll give us a lot of insufferable dicks to see butchered. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But that's not for a while.
No, I actually forget the release date they put out for that.
Yeah, I gotta take a look. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you liked the show. If you'd like what we do, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Filmgazm Productions. You can email us at filmgazm@gmail.com. Send us a message through the socials or a message there. If you want to support the show through Anchor, you can click on support this podcast or your podcast provider. And now we have an announcement. Things are switching up at Filmgazm Productions. We're experiencing some true burnout. And you know what? I get it. It's hard doing 4 shows a week. It's hard. So to help lighten the load for all of us, we are no longer going to be doing the sneak preview on a weekly basis. I know. Stop crying. It's okay. It's going to be okay.
No one's crying, but go on.
I can hear them. I can hear the tears.
Okay. So
anyway.
I was in delusion.
Anyway, what we're going to be doing going forward is we're not stopping the sneak preview. We're just going to make them a lot more meaningful. We're going to be doing them on an as needed basis. So depending on a big movie or big news or whatever we feel like doing, it's going to be multi-hosted, talking 3 to 4, possibly big shit every time. And we'll announce it like week by week when we do them. So we're nothing for Top Gun, because fuck that. And, I don't know what we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting. But I'm excited to retool the show and make it more worth your while and make it much more manageable for us. So thank you for sticking with the sneak preview thus far. Here's to the future. So, yeah.
It'd be one thing if we were, getting paid, and this is what we did for a living, but we all have jobs, and then we don't get paid. This is a hobby.
Hobbies are fun, but also you got to be realistic sometimes. And this show was starting to kind of get on my nerves. So going forward, knowing, that I'll have time to make a really fun show for you guys with this, I can't wait. It's going to be so much easier to manage. And that just makes our other 3 shows, the Filmgazm Podcast, Oscar Sunday, and Beyond the Bad, even better, because we'll have more focus. So everybody wins. Everybody. So this is it for some time on the sneak preview. It's been a ride. It's been a lot of shit movies and a few good ones. Feels like that.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you watch everything. You don't get a lot of good movies.
No. You get 2 weeks of Shudder killing the game, and the box office not killing the game.
Not gonna lie, Firestarter and Men, big reason of why I decided to do this. Like, God damn it, 2 in a row. Are you fucking kidding? And then I get to do Top Gun. What the fuck? So yeah, I decided no.
You had a brief moment of me being scared because you seem to be falling for the positive reception to Maverick. And I was like, you fucking hold true. We will not be watching Top Gun Maverick, damn it.
Like I said, if it's free and that situation I might have fallen into, it might end up being free. If it's free, I'll go see it, but I'm not paying for it. Regardless, it's not going to be on this show or any of our other shows.
Yeah.
I don't want to give Tom Cruise dissatisfaction.
No. And now I don't know if so, but people are resurfacing the article about his treatment of U.S. sailors on the Roosevelt or the TR that they filmed the aircraft carrier you see in the trailer. They filmed those scenes on that particular aircraft carrier, and that article is getting put back into circulation about how he treated members of the crew and how he was pretty much a dick.
Well, good. Maybe it'll sabotage the box office on this thing.
I hope it does, because I'm sorry, but that's one of the biggest reasons I'm not seeing this. So I'm not boycotting Tom Cruise permanently here because I do want to see Mission Impossible, especially because apparently the trailer leaked for about a couple of minutes and people saw it, are praising it, and it already got pulled. So there's a trailer that will probably release when this movie releases for the upcoming Mission Impossible.
Well, here's the thing, though. Tom Cruise will probably never go away. I'm pretty sure this is allegedly. I don't know this for sure, just in case there's lawyers listening. I'm pretty sure that disrespecting the military is one of the tenets of Scientology. So I don't see how he's going to get in any trouble because it's part of his religion. Probably.
Serious?
I don't know. I don't know that for sure, but it makes sense.
Oh, I was about to be like, are you serious? That wouldn't make sense, but
it'd be hilarious if he's like, I get to piss on soldiers as much as I want. It's part of my religion. Like
this whole thing leading up to this has been nothing but douchebaggery to me. Like between that and like reading what he said at cons about how like I'm a movie fan. I like going to movies like you guys do too, and I made this for y'all and blah blah blah. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, Tom.
You made this for Tom Cruise. Fuck off.
Yeah. And then like he, I guess, really had to double down on why it wasn't coming to streamers. He's like, I believe in the big screen and it shouldn't be coming to streamers, and you need to see it as a group experience. And I'm like, there was a pandemic that you were taking seriously, you fucking jackass.
Yeah,
I'm like, I am so fucking sick and tired of people bitching about the release schedule for 2021. Like, what? You didn't want any fucking movies to come out? None at all. I'm like, look, I get it. I am pro theater all the way. I know you are. Everyone on Filmgazm is pro theater, I'm assuming. You cannot replicate that experience. You cannot take it away. It's a special experience. But holy fucking shit, when there's a pandemic that are making people scared to go out, shut the fuck up and get over the fact that the studios are trying to figure out a goddamn way for people to still see these films they spent money on.
Well, and it's over. Doctor Strange 2 just crossed 800 million worldwide. Like, it's time to stop worrying about that. Like, we're good. So
yeah,
just release your movie and shut up.
Yeah, it's like, just stop it. But like I said, I've been kind of getting annoyed. How I got annoyed with, not to get too political here, but I'll just real quick, with the far right and their need to act like it's never existed and massacre unconstitutional, how that's bugged me. I am on my Twitter concerned very much left-leaning celebrities. And again, I'm someone that I find myself usually in the middle on the law stuff. Now you're starting to get tired of the constant jabs of people acting like it's over and you need to go out and wear your mask. See cases, it's like, okay, look, now you're becoming the other side. You're getting just as annoying. You're not shutting the fuck up. Like, if you want to go wear a mask when you go out to the theater, go wear a goddamn mask. I don't give a shit. If you don't feel that safe, don't go watch Top Gun 2 or whatever the fuck else movie you want to see in theaters. Guess what? You ain't getting your day and date releases anymore because you bitched about that. So now you have to wait till you can stream it on Prime.
Well, point is, we're done for a while.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean rant. It's just like, God, I'm getting so annoyed how like this is flipped, and the side that was like of sound and reason is slowly becoming the other side.
Well, sneak preview will continue in some other form that we promise will be exciting and fun for everybody. Until then, don't miss Alligator on Wednesday's Filmgazm podcast.
And I have once we stop recording 2 very cool facts that you need to include on that episode.
Okay, I will do that. On Friday, we're doing Cocktail. Gonna mock Tom Cruise for a while. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Oscar Sunday, back to praising him with Magnolia. But I got to say, he is fucking amazing in that movie, and it's praise that's worth it. So it is a great movie.
If I am to, I just want to separate art from artists.
Yeah.
Describe it. Tom Cruise movies I like. And I do think he's a good actor.
You would like Tom Cruise in Magnolia. He runs a sexual self-help seminar where he teaches people how to pick up chicks, and it's called Respect the Cock. And it's hilarious. So, yeah, Frank T.J. Mackey. I can't wait to do Magnolia. I really can't. It's Austin's favorite movie of all time. So it's been a minute. I'm excited to do it.
Okay.
Well, until then, have a great week, and thanks for listening.